Imagine waking up to the sound of silence. It's January 1925, and the small, isolated town of Nome, Alaska, is trapped in a frozen nightmare. This silence isn't peaceful, it's the silence of fear. A deadly diphtheria epidemic has taken hold, attacking the community's most vulnerable, the children. The infection spreads like wildfire. Dr. Curtis Welch, the town's only physician, is helpless. He has diagnosed the first few cases and knows that without the life-saving antitoxin serum, every child in Nome will be dead within weeks. The infection rate is compounding hourly, and the desperation is palpable. The closest supply of serum is nearly 700 miles away in Anchorage. There is no infrastructure. The only hope, the Alaska Railroad, can only get the serum within 500 miles. That last, impossible gap, 500 miles of frozen, storm-ravaged wilderness, must be covered by sheer will and canine endurance. The governor of Alaska approved a massive relay. The serum would be passed from musher to musher across a gauntlet of ice, blizzards, and temperatures plunging to 60 degrees below zero. They were facing a race against time, a race against the very environment. And the fate of an entire town rested on the paws of one dog team that would face the most dangerous miles of all. The man chosen for this impossible task was Leonhard Seppala, a Norwegian immigrant and the most experienced musher in Alaska. But his lead dog, Togo, was an unlikely hero. Born in 1913, Togo was immediately dismissed. He was small, sickly, and utterly rebellious. He suffered from canine distemper and never grew to the required size or strength. Seppala saw him as a troublemaker and tried to get rid of him multiple times. He was sold to a pet owner, but Togo found his way back home, sometimes traveling miles and even jumping through glass windows just to rejoin the team. His spirit could not be contained. Seppala finally relented, giving the unruly pup a chance. He placed the small dog in the lead position of his team, and what happened next shocked him. Togo possessed an almost genius-level instinct for navigation, sensing thin ice, and motivating the entire team. He was the perfect leader, fast, instinctive, and utterly fearless. When the call came from Nome, Seppala knew that only Togo could safely navigate the most exposed and treacherous section of the entire relay. Their bond was unbreakable, forged through years of trial and error in the brutal Alaskan landscape. The serum left the train station in Nenana. The overall relay plan called for 20 mushers and over 150 dogs to participate, passing the life-saving package like a baton. But Seppala, knowing that the town was dying faster than the serum was moving, made a bold, life-threatening decision. He decided to skip the early, safer handoffs. Instead of waiting for the serum, he would race toward the oncoming mushers and meet the relay halfway across. This cut the travel time but forced his team to run twice the distance of any other team. On January 28, Seppala and Togo set off, driven by an urgency that superseded logic. They raced directly into the teeth of an oncoming storm. They were running not just against miles, but against the clock of contagion. For 5 brutal days, Seppala and Togo raced. The weather was unimaginable. They ran into the core of a massive northerly storm. The wind was so strong it felt like running against a physical wall, driving the wind chill below -85 degrees Fahrenheit. Visibility was zero. The snow was a blinding wall of white. In those conditions, a dog loses all visual cues. They cannot see the trail, the horizon, or even the musher behind them. But Togo didn't need sight. Guided by his peerless instinct, a kind of preternatural intelligence, he pushed the team forward, his small body low to the ground, head down, never wavering. Their most terrifying challenge came on the exposed, frozen surface of Norton Sound. This massive sheet of sea ice could break apart at any moment. On February 1st, the storm intensified. The ice beneath them began to crack and shift violently. Seppala calculated that the fastest way to save time was straight across the cracking ice, cutting 40 miles off the route. But the ice floe they were on broke free and began drifting dangerously out to sea. With the ice rapidly breaking up and the freezing water surrounding them, Seppala realized they were trapped, certain to perish in the frigid water. In a desperate, split-second decision, he threw Togo attached by the harness rope across a 5-foot gap of open, churning water onto a piece of stable ice. Togo, understanding the mortal danger, bit the heavy harness rope and used his strength to drag the massive ice floe, which contained the sled and Seppala, back towards a piece of solid, stable ground. It was an act of incredible strength, loyalty, and sheer genius navigation in a matter of life-or-death seconds. Togo had just saved his musher and the life-saving Serum. They had escaped death, but the cost was enormous. After fighting the Norton Sound ice, Seppala's team had to climb a 5,000-foot ridge, the most difficult elevation change of the entire run. Togo led the way, his small body battered and bruised, his lungs burning. By the time Seppala and Togo finally handed off the Serum, they had covered 350 miles, the longest, most dangerous, and most demanding leg of the entire relay by far. They had achieved the impossible. In total, counting the return journey, Togo ran for 120 miles. Seppala's team was utterly exhausted, suffering from severe exhaustion and early stages of frostbite. Seppala passed the cargo to the final mushers. The last team, led by musher gunner Kassan and his dog Balto, ran the final 55 miles into Nome. Kassan, facing a blinding storm, made it into Nome on February 2nd. The Serum was delivered, and the children were saved. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief. Because Balto was the dog seen crossing the finish line on the newsreels, the world immediately crowned him the hero. Balto received a grand parade, a statue in New York's Central Park, and became the famous symbol of the event. Togo, the small, scrappy leader who ran the longest and most treacherous distance, nearly 25% of the entire relay, received almost no recognition from the media at the time. Seppala, a man of quiet dignity, was furious at the media distortion. He tried to tell the public the truth, that Balto was a good dog, but Togo was the actual hero. Balto's team ran a short, easy leg, while Togo's team faced the life and death crossing. But the media frenzy had already decided the winner. Togo's story is the true definition of a second chance. Dismissed as a worthless run, he became the engine of the greatest life-saving effort in history, proving that heart and intelligence are more valuable than size. In his later years, Togo was retired to a prestigious breeding program. His legacy began to gain the quiet, respectful recognition it deserved. Today, many historians acknowledge Togo as the true, unsung hero of the great race of Mercy. His DNA lives on in many modern sled dogs, and his mounted remains are displayed with dignity in a museum in Alaska. He was a rebellious pup who became a national hero. A powerful testament to the value of a second chance and the fierce, unmatched loyalty of a dog. What do you think of the media's decision to crown Balto the hero? Did Togo deserve the spotlight? Let me know your theory in the comments below. Thank you for watching the Second Chance Sanctuary. Hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of animal heroes who saved the day.